Well, thank you for coming on my show, Miss Alexandra. Can you tell everyone about yourself?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I am originally from Washington, D.C., and I moved out to LA back in 2018, a
Hmm.
couple years before the pandemic. And I started, I did a whole acting conservatory when I first came out here, and then just got into like commercials, and have been really focusing on that ever since. And yeah, but prior to that, I grew up in Washington, D.C., and then
Hmm.
I moved to Montreal, Canada, and studied marketing. And I lived there for about 10 years. And I think after a while, I just kind of like, I kept on wanting to do acting, but I was just kind of pushing it down and being like, no, no, it'll subside. I don't actually want to do it. Like, I need to like, stick with marketing and make this work. But through marketing and doing social media, I actually was like, no, I really want to be in front of the camera, not just creating content. And so that was the impetus for me moving out to LA in 2018. So
Well, and welcome to LA.
thank you. Thank you.
What attracted you to begin your acting career?
Um, I always wanted to do it. I remember being like 10 years old and watching like Full House and all those shows and being like, oh, that's so cool. Like, I wish I could do what they're doing. And I remember when I was like about 12, my mom was like, you can do singing lessons or acting lessons. And so I was like, okay, I'll do singing lessons. But so I kind of ended up doing that and being in a choir for a little bit. And I kind of pushed acting to the side. I should have chose acting. But I pushed acting to the side. And yeah, I think why I really wanted to do it is that at home, my dad was such a movie buff. Like we would watch movies together as a family on the weekend and go to the movie theaters pretty much a few times a month because he loved the movie so much. And so that's, I think I kind of absorbed that. Um, but I think as I got older, I, like I said, I kind of pushed it to the side and focused on school and focused on working. But when I realized that, no, I actually do want to do this, it was kind of around 2016 and like everything that was happening politically. And for me, like I felt that, media is so powerful
Hmm.
and we don't really get a lot of, I mean, as a Latina actress, like Latinos in general, I think it's a lot better now, but I still think that representation on screen can improve because there's such thing as being represented, like you'll have like specific roles that are stereotypical roles, and yeah, okay, you're being represented, but not being represented in like a great light. And so I think there's a lot of room for that. And, for me, both of my parents worked in DC, in government. My dad was a judge. And I don't see that like on screen very much. Um, having like Latinos be like the lawyers or the judges or the doctors. And so for me, it was really important to, if I was going to do acting, to like represent that and to be, to try as much as I could
Hmm.
be in roles that were, I guess like those roles that you don't get to see Latinos in as much, like the ones I just mentioned. So that was that's like my big why for why I do it. And I feel like that's why for me, I probably will always do it, as long as I personally think it's a significant and substantive role.
Right.
So yeah.
And you're representing the
Um,
Latino
yeah.
actors and actresses out there.
I'm trying to, and there are a lot of other great actors and actresses
Uh-huh.
out here that I've met in my time out here in LA that are also doing that. And yeah, I think there's a lot of Latino talent. I just think that Hollywood just needs to write those roles. Yeah.
Right, I understand. Well, it's a long ways from Washington, D.C. all the way to LA.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I moved to LA because my sister, she's also an actress. She was out here before me, and so that kind of made it easier moving from Montreal, Canada to LA. Um, And yeah, I have even though I come back to visit DC every summer because my parents still live there, I had left DC when I was like 18, and then kind of Montreal was like my second home.
Hmm.
And so, but yeah, it is a long way. I love LA though. I know that not, I know that people have mixed feelings about LA, but I personally enjoy
I
it. And
also love LA too.
yeah, I
So
love it. Yeah.
we're on the same page.
Okay.
Do you have any upcoming projects?
Yeah, I just booked something today, which was exciting. I'm gonna so the OC Fair is happening soon, so I'm filming a commercial for the OC Fair next on Tuesday, with the production company that I worked with before. And when I first moved out here, they were doing a campaign for OC Vote back in
Hmm.
2019 to get the word out, and I was selected as their spokesperson. And so that was really great because it was just instructional videos mixed with commercials and then a print campaign. And that was my first billboard. I had a billboard in Orange County for a little while, and I was so excited and
Congratulations.
thank you. Super proud to have that. But yeah, I'm working with that production company again. They're shooting a commercial for the fair that's I guess happening this summer. So yeah,
That sounds amazing. And
thank you.
so what other projects have you worked in the past?
Yeah, so it's definitely like increased in terms of I guess media roles and projects. Back in 2022, I think I had like what I would say my most successful year because that was the year that I booked a role in a Tribeca film,
Hmm.
and it was for Rising Voices. And so I had like a small supporting part, but I got to go to the Tribeca Film Festival, and um, it was the Rising Voices. They were doing that in collaboration with Lena Waithe, and so she was the producer for that, and she had to kind of pick all the actors, or she had the final say in who the
Right.
actors were. And I guess just to be chosen for that really kind of like cemented the fact that okay, no, you can do this. Like you know, it is possible. Just because at that point I kind of felt like I'm always auditioning, but like it doesn't feel like it's moving forward or getting anywhere. And I think that year I realized no, it can go somewhere. And that was a pretty significant project for me. And then later on that year, I booked my first national commercial in English and Spanish for Walgreens. And I played a pharmacist. And yeah, it played, I think it came out in September and then it played all the way through January. So it was
Hmm.
just for COVID season or, flu season,
Right.
cold and COVID season. And that was also significant because I'm a bilingual actress.
Hmm.
However, I feel like my Spanish is not as good as my English. So I was always really shy about auditioning for Spanish roles because yeah, there are actresses who, are from Colombia that like can do the Spanish really well, and their Spanish is, definitely better than my
Right.
Spanish. Um, so I was always shy about auditioning for those Spanish commercials, and I
Hmm.
had even considered at one point like having a conversation with my agent saying, I always audition for these things and I kind of never get selected. So I don't know if it's worth it to like continue to audition for the Spanish commercials. And I'm so glad I didn't have that conversation because lo and behold, I ended up booking Walgreens, and it just kind of reminded me that I guess not to second guess yourself or not to
Right.
believe
Right.
that you can't do something, to continue to try because you never
Mm.
know. So don't count yourself out, before, you know. So that was significant. And so those were two pretty big projects that I've had in the past. And then recently I was in another bilingual English and Spanish TurboTax commercial, except they cut the English away. So it was just Spanish. Um, and that is still currently airing, I believe, even though tax season is over. But yes. Um,
Well,
yeah,
that's good. Sorry, you never
oh
doubt
no,
yourself. You never know you could get these roles, right? That's good you didn't
yeah.
tell your agent that you didn't want to do the Spanish roles. Never give up, right?
It was such a lesson. Yeah, it's such a lesson for me because I probably wouldn't have booked that role unless I spoke Spanish. And had I been like, just don't submit me for the Spanish ones,
Hmm.
I would have never booked it. So, and then I did see definitely like after I booked that, an uptick in the auditions that I would get with bigger commercial casting directors. And so it really is like all about momentum. And I was able to see that after that. And then also after TurboTax, I was like having so many auditions. Um, it's kind of died down now, but yeah, no, it really does make a difference. And yeah, I'm just grateful to have had those opportunities. And
Hmm.
then theatrically, um, I was able to get an agent, and they recently sent me on it was a co-star audition, but it was for Matlock with Kathy Bates. And so even though I didn't book it at all, to me, the fact that like I was auditioning for something that was
Right,
like
right.
Kathy Bates, I was like, this is surreal. And I just more motivation, especially
Hmm.
right now, like coming off of like the strikes and how everything is kind of like slowed down. It's just more motivation in like an uncertain time to
Right,
continue,
right.
just see where things can go. Right.
That's true. Congratulations on on everything.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're very welcome. You know, uh, for you as an actress, what is your one thing you notice that's difficult about the entertainment industry?
I honestly think it's maintaining like the mindset that like it's still possible because there are like these ups and downs. And my sister being an actress, I think it's really helpful because I can talk to her and tell her like, man, I'm feeling really down. Like recently I was feeling super down because I had just come off a TurboTax and then was having a great next month with getting avails and then nothing. And I was talking to my sister and I was like, I haven't gotten a call back in like 6 weeks. And like, I don't know what I'm doing differently. Um, and so she was just like, that's the nature of it. It's up and down and it'll go back up again. And so
Hmm.
constantly reminding yourself that even if you're having like a bad week, month, or year, at least, what goes up must come down, maybe, but definitely what is down definitely goes back up. And it's true. It's true. I think so that has been a challenge is just to keep positive during times
Right.
where you think nothing's
Hmm.
working out for you. And because then you get in your head, and for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, should I cut my hair? Like, what do I now? Like, what do I need to change about myself? But
So,
yeah.
how do you motivate yourself during that time?
I try to take classes. So if it's something like a slow time, I try to take classes so that I can continue to, and I guess just like learn things that maybe I didn't consider. So I recently took a commercial class. It was line runner tapes, and I took her commercial called it was her TCB class, and it was it was 3 months, but it was like, yeah, online and interactive. And yeah, it was just for me to like kind of, I guess, learn things that maybe I hadn't considered or kind of like hone my skills a little bit
Hmm.
more. So I think that kind of motivates me because while I'm focused on like getting better, I know that like, time is elapsing and then the next opportunities will, arise. And when I meet them, hopefully I'll be that much better. So that's what I try to do, I guess, when I'm
Right.
kind of going through like, I guess, lulls in my motivation.
So you started acting because of your sister, correct?
I think I can say that. My sister Elise, she started acting in high school. And she was like cast as like leads in plays.
Hmm.
And then she went to theater school. She went to Long Island, theater at Long Island University. Um, but I think also the reason why she was acting is because of our dad. So I think we both wanted to be actors because our dad loved movies so much, or still loves movies so much. Um, so I think it was because of my dad, but my sister doing it kind of like, I guess, motivated me more to pursue it.
Right. And
Yeah.
also,
And
did your parents ever thought the two daughters would become actress?
they, that's a good question. My parents have always been so supportive of us doing acting.
Right,
Uh,
right.
I think they always just wanted us to be happy. Um, my dad was always like, "You need to do comedy," even though I know in this thing, and you're probably like, "What is she talking about?" But like he's always wanted me to do, I guess, something in entertainment, and maybe he just like saw something in me. And I used to be a gymnast, and so I used to perform a lot, just in competitions. But yeah, I they've always been really supportive, and I think they just wanted us to be happy with whatever we were doing.
Right.
And if we were
But I
both
understand.
actors, then they were fully supportive of us being both actors. But I think I want to say that my mom and dad are really happy that my sister and I are both in LA and are just together in LA. Whether we're
Right.
pursuing acting or not, at least we're living close to each other.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So, um, did they ever thought they never thought that both of you would be moving to LA?
I don't I don't think they thought that. No. I think yeah. Um
Because you could have chose like
New
Chicago or
York,
Atlanta or
right?
New
Yeah.
York, right?
Yeah, I don't think they thought that we'd ever wind up in LA together, but they are definitely happy that we are here
Together.
together. And I honestly have to say that having a sibling who has an acting background and is in acting has been a godsend for me, because she coaches me on my auditions. Um, she'll be my reader. She'll just give me feedback. And obviously when I'm going through like a rough time with acting, she'll, pick me up. So she really understands acting. And I think that just having her here is really the reason why I feel like I've been able to
Hmm.
accomplish the things in acting that I've accomplished in the 5 years that I've been out here, 6 years that I've been out here. Um,
6 years.
yeah.
All right, that's amazing. So curiosity question is that I hear this is true that I don't know how to describe it, but sisters can tell if something's wrong with the other sister without calling and texting.
That's a good question. I think,
Like somehow the sisters have a psych. Like if you're living so close or somewhere far away, you're
yeah.
like you can feel something is wrong. Like, is that true?
Well, I talk to her pretty much every day. So I think like, so we kind of, I guess, like have a rhythm. So I guess if something was off, she'd be like, "Oh, I haven't heard from you." But I think like definitely if we're spending time together, and something is wrong, she'll be like, "What's wrong? Why are you acting like that, or why is your face like that?" And yeah, so she can, definitely pick up on that kind of stuff.
Same with you.
But we're really close that we talk every day. That
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah,
so, yeah, it's just interesting because usually some family members, the siblings, brothers or sister, one does one thing and the other one doesn't do
yeah,
that thing. So I was just curious. It's like it's probably not rare that both, siblings,
yeah,
maybe four, just two of you, whatever, so on. But it's rare because usually just one will do one thing and the other one will just do the other thing. So it's kind
yeah.
of amazing that both of you are doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's really cool. I think, yeah, she's SAG. She's in the union. I'm still SAG eligible, so I have not joined the union. But she's SAG. Her husband is an actor, Joe Bagdis. He's also SAG, and I don't know. They're both inspiring to me because they're both union actors, and they also but they also work remotely full time, so
Hmm.
they make it work. And yeah, I definitely admire people that can do both because
Right.
hard. And when you're non-union, I feel like there's so many like auditions and they're smaller projects. And yeah, there's just so much less time to be able to devote
Hmm.
yourself to working, a traditional job full time and then also acting. So yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then of course your sister and your sister's husband, they're SAG, and
Yeah.
being an actor and actress is fun, tough, but it is entertaining, because we entertain people.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
We tell people stories, 100%. So what other roles would you like to see yourself play in as a character? Your
I
dream role, or your what's your big dream role?
um I would really love to be cast in like a comedy series, but like kind of like the Office style, but like, comedy, or like because I'm from Washington, D.C., so something like, like On the Hill, but like comedy. So that would be my dream role. And especially if it's shot in Washington, D.C. and or New York, because then I'd be on the East Coast and I could see my parents more. So that would be ideal. Um, but yeah, I also, I guess, have this fantasy or this dream
Uh-huh.
of to one day be cast in a film that goes to Cannes, because I don't know why that's like the end and be all for me, but if I can make it to Cannes, then I can tell myself I made it. But like yeah, that's just to have a role, minor, supporting or lead in a project that goes to Cannes would be a dream. Yeah.
Amazing. So
Yeah.
are you the youngest sister, and the closest to the family, that you're the one that says I have to see my parents?
Oh, that's also a good question. I'm not the youngest. I'm the oldest, but I act like the youngest. Everybody always is like, "Oh, is that your older sister?" Like, no, she's my younger sister. But I it's a good question. My sister is more, I want to say, like I want to see my parents more often, definitely. So I feel like I want to go see them as much as I can. But when my sister visits, she really takes care of everybody. She's more of like, making sure everybody is like comfortable and taken care of. Um, so I feel like she wins. She wins the better daughter award in that realm. Yeah. Uh,
Okay.
yeah.
Just a curious question between you and your sister can come on my show too and answer these questions. Um, so who's the funniest between you and your sister?
Oh, she's funny, but I think she doesn't advertise that she's funny. I I when I'm like with friends and close family, I definitely joke more. Yeah, I think that's more my personality because I'm comfortable to joke more. If I'm in a group setting, I don't know anybody, I'm like, no, I definitely shut down and don't speak.
So
But
who's more outgoing?
yeah. I think I am, but we did the Myers-Briggs test and we're both actually introverts. Yeah, we're both introverted, but I would say that I'm definitely more outgoing.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
I'm asking you these questions because if your sister ever comes on my show, I'm going to compare these.
Yeah.
Who's the messiest?
I think she is the best. Yes.
Woo, when she watches this interview, she's really gonna come after you.
Yeah. True.
Maybe your sister.
I think yeah, a little bit, yeah. I can be. I'm also messy. I'm yeah. I mean, I'm like disorganized, I think, but yeah.
Okay,
It's just
last one about you two. Who
okay.
drives better?
Oh, 100% she drives better because I actually don't drive. I don't have my license, so she wins that categorically, hands down.
And you're
Yeah.
the one that you feel comfortable.
Yeah, 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 that's yeah. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I'll
Yeah.
have to remember this. If I ever have her on my show, we'll have to compare these answers, see what she says. Um, Now for you is when you do auditions,
Yeah.
is not, and this is for questions I ask a lot of actors and actresses out there. We have a lot of young actors out there, young male and female actors out there, and it doesn't matter any age as well, but especially for young actors out there who are struggling with auditions when they're going to auditions and you said the same thing. Is my hair too long? Do I need to cut it? And not am I not wearing enough makeup for ladies? And for men, it's like, oh, what's wrong with my hair? So what is your advice for a lot of young actors and actresses out there, and maybe some adults who are trying to understand about this entertainment industry that is who are in the entertainment industry, but they're trying to understand why I'm going to auditions and you think I'm getting this role and I'm not getting it. And like you said, you go to auditions, you have a role, and now you had it, and then you said it, you go up and down. So
Yeah.
for you, what is your advice for anybody out there who is going through things like that?
I think number one, it definitely takes a little bit of time. I think for the casting directors to kind of get familiar with you as an actor. So they, I mean, you could get lucky and you could like, book something right away. But if it is a little bit of a struggle, then probably I would say that I think they need to see you audition, a few times and know that like, okay, when I see her, when she self submits on, or does a self tape, I see her work, it's consistent. It's his work, it's consistent, and I know what to expect. And then when we have these callbacks, they're also really good. So I think I would say that they probably have to get familiar with you as an actor, and then I think honestly do think, and maybe people disagree, but I think your rep also kind of matters, And I've
Hmm.
seen it within my own agency. So, you know, there's there's your agent. And then there's the assistants, your agent's assistants, right? So commercial assistants.
Right.
And they're the ones who submit you on projects. Um, so not necessarily your agent, but probably mostly the commercial assistant.
Hmm.
And I've been with my agency for 5 years, and they've gone through various assistants. And I have noticed that, I mean, there are some that are stronger than others that they'll submit you in lots of projects and lots of good projects. I don't know what they do. If they go through your profile and they kind of like actually read through it and see what you'd be good for and follow through with that. And there was one girl recently, her name was Caitlin, and she would like call me up and she's like, I just submitted you on this. It's this afternoon. Just want to make sure you have that. But then I feel like there are others, maybe there's a learning curve that are either less experienced or less go-gettery type. And so I think the auditions like fall off. So
Hmm.
all that to say that I do think that like who your agent is and who they're working with, who your team is, really does matter. So if you're
Hmm.
not getting any, and I remember when I first started, I was with somebody and it was like 3 months and I barely got an audition and people were telling me, just give it more time. And I was like, I don't have time. I'm in my like 30s. I mean, I don't have time to wait. So I ditched her and then I didn't ditch her. I spoke to her, but I got with somebody else shortly thereafter, and yeah, my auditions went up. So I do think that if you have strong headshots, it's definitely not your headshots.
Hmm.
It's probably who you're represented by, and maybe they're not submitting you as much as they could be. That's what I think.
That's a good idea. And also my next question is, Do you believe they should attend acting school, or is acting school not required?
When you say acting school, you mean like university degree or
Yes,
like
sorry. Do you think they
um
have to go to school to get a degree? Because I know a lot of actors, a lot of A actors, and again, I know they're A plus actors, but they've done in the entertainment industry. Some of them who are not A actors have done a lot as well. But in your opinion, do you believe that we don't need to have a college degree? Because I know a lot of actors are acting great and they don't have no degree at all.
yeah, I don't think you need a degree in acting to be successful in acting. I definitely think that it helps. I think that you get kind of funneled into like these top tier agencies when you come out of theater school. And usually those agents, like they're, I guess, looking to maximize their um, like profits, right? It's business. So like if you're coming out and you're 22 and you have an acting life, a longer acting life, then they want to get you. And so I think there's benefits to going to
Hmm.
act, but there are a lot of famous actors that didn't go to
Right. That's what I was saying.
acting or
Hmm.
undergraduate for and get a degree in theater. Um, and so they just studied. They just studied Meisner, or they
Hmm.
studied, other forms of acting, like Stella Adler. I think Benicio del Toro studied Stella Adler, and he won an Oscar.
Right.
So yeah, so I think it's not necessary, but it's helpful. But not everybody. I would say that like still not
Hmm.
everybody can like afford to go to college, and then two, not everybody can afford to major in theater if it's not like their passion. And so if you're just doing it
100%.
and yeah, and taking acting classes here and there and just making it work for you, you can still be successful, I
All right. I
think.
totally agree with you because, anything can happen, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
And
think even I was gonna say even if I mean, I wouldn't recommend not taking any classes at all because I don't think that's a surefire way of becoming successful. But the guy from what was that like TV show with like Leonard and it was like set in like California, Pasadena, and they were all
oh, my mind
with
went blank.
Penny. Yeah, with Penny and Leonard and
Oh, The Big Bang Theory.
Big Theory. Yeah.
Yes,
So
I love that show, by the way.
the Indian actor on, well, I don't know if I had heard that the Indian actor on that show was just in LA and had randomly auditioned. And I think he said this on a talk show. He had randomly auditioned and then got cast, and he wasn't even an actor. So I mean, it's like you said, anything can happen. But
Yeah, anything happened. And look how far he was in it the whole season.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
so
yeah,
it is amazing. Anything can happen. Just go for it. And just keep trying, right? So,
definitely.
and that's 100%. What is your short-term and long-term goal?
Hmm. Well, for now, so I'm SAG eligible, and I'm kind of, I guess, wanting to stay in this zone where I can do non-union projects, which are mostly a lot of commercial projects are non-union, and then still audition for co-star roles, which are union. Um, and so my short-term goal is to become a co-star this year on a show. Like I really
Hmm.
just need like a a co-star credit. And that's my short-term goal. So I actually just signed with a manager, and I'm hoping that we can work together and I can accomplish that this year. Um, long-term goal. I don't know why I have this thing about shows, but I really I want to be a series regular. And so if I can work my way up from being a co-star to then a guest star, um, or co-star, recurring co-star, and then guest star, and then series regular, then I feel like I would have done what I came to LA to do. So,
Well, that's great to hear about you and about your acting career and your goals and all this stuff. And all your future roles that you have coming up. So congratulations on all the past roles you've done. Um, what is something that nobody knows about you except your sister and your sister's husband? Do you, I'm sorry, I had to say that. Do you have any hidden talents that nobody knows about you except your family?
That's a really good question. Yeah, I mean, hidden talent. I was gonna say I used to be a gymnast, and so I competed nationally and internationally in rhythmic gymnastics. But the people that were at those competitions know that. So people do know that. People don't know about me. In terms of hidden talents, I I think that I have like an ear for accents and for like I can kind of like imitate or impersonate, sorry. So I can do that. I'm not like super good, like SNL level good, but I'm like halfway there. So I would say that I have an ear for accents. So yeah, probably that.
Wow, amazing, amazing, amazing. I'm serious, amazing.
Okay.
Um, Alexander, it's you know, I can't like I said, I love to have you back on my show and
Thank you.
talk more about you and about your future acting roles, and like I said, how long have you been acting?
I started, I did a conservatory program in Washington, D.C. In the middle of my university degree. I kind of took some time off I went to McGill and I took some time off and came back and did a 2-year theater program in DC at the National Conservatory of Dramatic Arts. And so I did that when I was 19. Yeah, 19. And I finished that when I was like 21. And then I went back to school and finished my bachelor's degree. And then I kind of stopped. Like I focused on marketing and working and was like, okay, like I'm not gonna be an actor. But then it just like when you want to do something or you feel like you like need to do something, it just stays with you and you want to like
Right,
pursue
right.
it. I started to take acting classes in Montreal and I took them at night after work. And I did that for about a year. So I just did a year of acting
Uh-huh.
classes before I decided. Um, and those were on camera classes. So
Mm-hmm.
that was great to kind of like try to get a little bit of on camera practice. And then I moved from Montreal to LA in 2018. And then I did my conservatory program at the Ruskin School of Acting in Santa Monica, where I studied Meisner for 2 years. And yeah, so I'd say in total, I've studied acting for about like 5 years, and then I've done um, you know, my commercial classes here and there. But I would say that I've been acting probably when I first came out here and booked my first commercial thing,
Mm-hmm.
which was in 2018. And that was really exciting because it was like the first time that I was like, okay, oh my God, like I'm getting paid for this. And at the time it was like, $500, but I was like, that's amazing. Like somebody's paying me to like do something that, I've been wanting to do. And it was really cool.
Oh,
So
that's amazing. It is fun when you get the role and you're like, oh my goodness, like I'm in it, right? And it's
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it's wonderful. By the way, your background is so amazing, but it's white. Like my eyes are like,
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. Yeah. Okay.
well, thank
Yeah,
you.
it's a lucky background. I use this wall for all of my self tapes, and I feel like it has been really good to me. So
Oh,
thanks.
amazing. Well, thank you for coming on my show. Um, I would love to, I would love to have you back. So you know, we'll definitely stay in touch. I believe I found you through Instagram,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and then you followed me, which I really, really appreciate because I've interviewed SAG actors and non-SAG actors, and and it's amazing that we are supporting each other in this community. It's not a competition, right?
I agree. I
And
agree with you.
a
Yes.
lot of a lot of young actors that when they want to they're afraid to get into the entertainment industry because they think it's a competition, but it's not a competition. And
Right.
I believe that you and your sister's story is showing that it's not a competition. We support each other, and we're helping each other and young actors and actresses out there, any age out there in this entertainment industry. We support each other. Doesn't matter what state we're in, from the West Coast all the way to the East Coast, North and South and around the world, but especially in the United States, we support each other, this entertainment industry, because we are a family, right? All actors, actresses, film directors, and producers, we're all a family and we all support each other, especially the A-list. So, and it showed that during the strike when you have
That's true.
non-union members
Mm.
striking in Los Angeles and Texas and Seattle and New York and Chicago and Detroit and Florida. And you also had SAG actors go out there as well supporting this strike. And you
Right.
had A-list actors in California.
Yeah.
But it just shows you that it doesn't matter if we're union or non-union because we support each other because we're all in this entertainment industry. And if we're not around, then what's going to entertain us on TV? Except I have to say this, except sports. But what's going to entertain, but what's going to entertain us, right?
Yeah, no, I agree that I think that's a very true point. And especially like because it can be so competitive out here. And I've always felt that like it's like what is meant for you, and people say this all the time, but I really do believe
Mm-hmm.
it. What is meant for you, will be for you. It's not going to pass you by. You don't need to worry about whether or not she's going to get it or he's going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that like also comes to other things like sharing opportunities with people. Like if you see something that is right for your actor friends or they're looking for an agent or whatever, I always feel like it's not going to take from me because so it's why not share and why not be like helpful and supportive because
Right, right.
yeah, I feel like there's enough work for everyone to go around. And with streaming platforms, I feel like just, there's constantly
Mm-hmm.
a lot of opportunities coming around for everybody.
Well,
So
that's
we should,
that's 100% true. So we agree on that,
yeah.
100%. Well, thank you for coming on my
Thank you.
show,
Thank you so much for having
and
me.
I would love to have you back.
I would love to come back. Thank you.
Yes, let's please um stay in touch with me. I'll stay in touch with you, and if you have any upcoming projects, I would love to have you back on my show, and we can talk about it.
Oh, that's so exciting. Yes, I would love to. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you again for coming on my show. And also, I would love to have your sister on my show.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She'd love to be on it. I'm gonna tell her she
Please,
would be
please.
thrilled. Yeah,
And
for
of course,
sure.
I'll be asking her those questions.
And then you can compare and contrast. Yeah, exactly.
We'll see what she says.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of it's kind of interesting because sometimes the siblings will say, "Yeah, I'm the cleanest," and they're like, "Oh no, I'm the," like you may say she's the cleanest, and she's like, "No, my sister's the cleanest. I'm the messiest." And you're like, "Oh, okay."
Right. Yeah. No, she's great. I'm happy that I have her as a sister and then she's here in LA with me and helps so much, whether she's messy or not messy. So yeah.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay.
Well, thank you
Thank you.
for no,
Yeah.
no, thank you for coming on my show, and please let your sister know I'd love to have her on my show, and I would love to have you on my show as well. I can have both of you on my show.
That'll be fun. That would be really fun. Yeah, that would be
Yes.
exciting. Yeah, for
So we'll
sure.
stay in touch. Thank you again for coming on.
Sounds great. Thank you so
All right.
much. Ruth.
Talk to you
Thank
soon.
Take care.